yogis and yoginis, this is Ashley Josephine. Today we're going to be working on the knees. So our knees often experience a lot of discomfort and pain in our body because of what's happening with our feet and our hips. So if our hips are out of alignment, or if our feet track in a slightly different way than our knees, then we might be pulling on the tendons and the ligaments in the knees in a way that over time wears things down, causes strains or tears, or bears weight in a different way than is optimal. So the poses that I'm going to offer up for you today are all about helping you gain strength in other parts of your legs to support your knees and also to move your knees through different ranges of motion. We'll start with the feet. We'll move in towards bridge pose. We'll do a little bit of Padangusthasana. You'll see what that is when we get there. And we'll end with a supported Shavasana. Props for today, all you'll need is a blanket for the end for our supported Shavasana. So we'll start with the feet. Bring your legs out in front of you. And I love working with the feet. You can have socks on if you want, or you can take your socks off. We use our feet so much in yoga and in our daily life, but we rarely get to stretch our feet out. So I love these first exercises because it helps us find the direction of movement in our feet. Start with a simple flex and point of your feet. And as you do this, notice how you feel the muscles all the way up your leg, in your calves, behind your knees maybe, into your quads and your hamstrings. Perhaps you even feel this all the way up into your hips. Make sure you sit nice and tall with a tall spine so the posture in the rest of your body is great. You can do this a couple times. These foot exercises are great to do at any time during the day. You can do this while you're sitting at your desk. You can do this at home while you're watching TV, just to get the legs warmed up and get the feet moving in all the different directions. From here, start to invert and evert the feet. So this is a range of motion that we're not maybe as familiar with in our feet unless you've sprained your ankle before. Weight bearing, this is not a very safe place for the ankle to be, but when we're not weight bearing, when you're sitting in this way, we're able to explore this range of motion, which is healthy, and then you can also feel how that affects the different muscles in your legs. Again, underneath the calves, I tend to feel this right underneath my knee and some of that connective tissue, some of the ligaments and the muscles that run underneath the knee. You might also feel this all the way up into your hip, and these are great examples of how the body is completely interconnected from your feet up to your hips, all the way up your spine. The last thing I want you to do is stabilize your heels and just bend and point your toes. So now the legs aren't moving, you're just moving your toes. This might be a little bit difficult for you depending on how used to moving your toes you are. I like to pick things up with my toes. I have my entire life, so I love this movement. But when you do this, you might feel all that muscle action up your legs. I feel this even up towards my hips, my hamstrings, just from bending my toes back and forth. And I feel it underneath my knees, a little bit in my calves as well. So do this a couple more times. And then we'll go down onto our back and we'll play with bridge pose. So you've probably done bridge pose before if you practice yoga. We'll do 3 variations here. And we'll explore the different ways that these variations affect how our knees feel. Start in a traditional bridge. Bring your feet right underneath your knees. Make sure your toes point straight forward. You can reach your hands down by your side. They may or may not touch the back of your feet. That's not as important as your feet being directly underneath your knees. Keep your gaze straight forward as you move up into bridge to protect your neck. Press down into your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Bring the weight back into your shoulders. And really press into your feet and use your glutes, your butt, to squeeze the hips up towards the ceiling. Feel what it's like in your knees and in your legs. Where do you feel this pose the most in your legs? Which muscles do you feel activating? Even if you don't know the names of the muscles, where in your body are you feeling this the most? Take a deep breath in. Exhale, slowly lower down. Now take your feet out wide to the edges of your mat, but keep your feet right underneath your knees. Inhale, lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Again, you'll be using your glutes to lift up your hips. Press down into your feet. Make sure your toes point straight forward. But I bet you feel this in a different place
This time around, I feel this one in my quads, right on the top of the thighs, big time. So it's a different engagement, and then you might feel it differently in your knees as well. Take another big breath in. Exhale, lower down. Now I want you to walk your feet all the way together. So your feet are together to touch, your legs touch, your knees touch. Inhale, lift up through your hips, press down into your feet, use your glutes to lift your hips, and you might find that this one's a little bit harder to lift up. I really feel this one in my hamstrings, and again, you might feel this differently in your knees. Lift your hips up as high as you can, squeeze your legs in towards each other. I feel this on the inner edge of my legs as well. Exhale, slowly lower down. So that's 3 different variations of bridge pose that you can practice in class or in your own practice, and choose the one that works best for your knee situation. And if your knees aren't experiencing any pain, you can practice all 3 of those variations to isolate the different muscles in your body. From here, lie down onto your back or stay on your back. Pull your right knee into your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. Now this is a lot of flexion in the knee, so if you can't bring your leg all the way in because it hurts your knee, grab hold behind your thigh instead, and you don't have to bend the knee quite as much. From here, with your hands behind your thighs, inhale, straighten your leg up towards the ceiling and bring your arms or slide your palms up your leg. Exhale, bend your knees, slide your hands back down your leg. Inhale, straighten your legs, slide your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, slide your arms down. Pull your leg in a little bit. As you inhale, straight. As you exhale, bend with a slight pull. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend, and continue at your own pace here. You don't have to straighten the leg all the way. It's okay if you keep a little bend in the knee. And play with your foot. What happens if you flex the toes? And what happens if you point the toes? Where do you feel that engagement of the muscles in your body? Do one more on this side. Lower down. Take your right leg to the ground. Pull your left leg in. Grab hold underneath the thigh or on your shin to pull the knee in for a moment. Then on your inhale, lengthen your leg. Reach your arms up the leg. On your exhale, slide your hands down, bend your knee, and pull the leg in. As you inhale, lengthen. As you exhale, pull the leg in. Continue here. So in this exercise, we mobilize the knee, we bend and straighten it, and you use muscles in your leg and your hip and even your foot to help you find how the muscles all work together in your leg as you bend and as you straighten. It's a great way to work into range of motion in your knee. It's a great way to warm up your legs. Try one more here. Then bend your knee in towards your chest. Exhale, release your leg down to the ground. So for the last exercise, it's not really an exercise, it's a resting pose. We'll go into a supported Shavasana. I recommend you roll up a blanket or a towel. You can also use a bolster or a rolled up mat if you have an extra one lying around, and place it right underneath your knees. So you can think about when you go get a massage, they place a rolled up towel or bolster underneath your knees to neutralize. And this is a nice way to support your knees as you lie down. Reach your arms out by your side, palms face up. And find a nice breath here. Nice steady breath, big inhales, big exhales. Bring your awareness into your knees. Notice how they feel. Bring your awareness into your legs. Notice how your calves, your ankles, the soles of your feet, your thighs, how all of this feels. Notice how your hips feel. You have the option to stay here and rest for as long as you'd like. This is a really nice place to be, to quiet your mind and to give your knees a little rest for all the flexion that we do throughout the day, that bending of the knees. If you need to move on with your day, slowly bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. And know that a comfortable seat for you might not be a cross-legged position. This is a lot of flexion in the knees. So if you want to take your legs out straight and you can keep a tall spine, this might work better for you. You want to take your legs out wide so that you find that forward tilt in your pelvis. That might work better for you. Find what works for you and just notice that as we move through life and as different situations happen, our knees might be in varying stages of health.
So we can use these exercises not only to prevent future pain or future issues in the knees, we can also use these exercises to rehab any pain or injury that we might have in your knees. As always, I'm not a doctor, just a yoga instructor. So if you are suffering from any type of pain, I encourage you to get clearance from your doctor or from your physical therapist before you do these exercises. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them for you. I look forward to seeing you on or off the mat again soon. Namaste.
Hey, Ashley.